Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jake from today'siPhone.com, and here's your TIP Daily for January 22nd, 2013. Okay, so to start off, you guys may or may not remember that a couple weeks ago, DigiTimes published a story stating that Apple is working on two iPhones for 2013. An iPhone 5S to follow up the iPhone 5, and a cheaper iPhone for emerging markets like China or something where cheap, unsubsidized phones are more popular. And at the time, DigiTimes claimed that this cheap iPhone would in fact have a bigger screen than the iPhone 5 and 5S, somewhere around 5 inches. Now personally, I thought that was kind of crazy, and apparently now so does DigiTimes. Today the publication released an article stating that Apple is working on a bigger iPhone, but that it is not one of the two that the company has lined up for 2013. DigiTimes is still claiming that Apple is working on a cheaper iPhone as well as a full price follow-up to the iPhone 5. That also is in question, but you know, the bigger cheap iPhone thing was totally absurd. So at least DigiTimes had the sense to admit that. So definitely keep that in mind when you're hearing rumors and stuff, and don't get too excited for devices that may or may not exist. Now, in the spirit of getting excited for devices that don't exist, we have an awesome concept video showing what an iPhone with a 4.8-inch screen would look like. Now, this concept is based off the DigiTimes rumor of a bigger iPhone, and even though that has since been debunked, the video showing the iPhone math still is a cool concept to check out. It has a 4.8-inch screen, a 12-megapixel camera. It comes in a bunch of different colors, and while it's not a reality now, there's nothing that says Apple won't release a bigger iPhone in the future. If the market trends continue as they currently are, screen sizes are only going to get bigger as time goes on. So you never know, in a few years we might see an iPhone with a 4.8-inch screen. But until then, you can check out this awesome video and see what one could look like. Okay, and finally, let's talk numbers for a second. Kantar World Panel Comtech released a very interesting survey. Every year they survey 250,000 smartphone users in the United States and just release, their findings and what's most popular and what sold well, what didn't sell well, and so on. So in the last quarter of 2012, Apple performed very well, gaining the majority of smartphone sales with 51.2%. Now this is a big jump from the 36% that iPhone claimed this time last year. It's also worth noting that a lot of these iPhone sales are switches from Android. This time last year, about 9% of iPhone sales were switching from an Android device to an iOS device. This quarter, it is 19%, which is more than double. To go a little bit more carrier specific, 49% of the iPhones that Verizon sold in the United States went to customers that had previously had devices on different platforms. What's more, 30% of those iPhones went to Android users. Okay, well that's all the big news for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Your question of the day today is, how do you approach rumors and stuff about next generation iPhones and iPads and basically any sort of devices online? Do you see something and get super excited and try to search for it, or do you kind of take things with a grain of salt and really wait until we have a confirmation before you start to get pumped? Personally, a couple years ago, before I really started working for Today's iPhone, I would get super hyped at every rumor I saw that had anything to do with, a next generation or a cool feature or anything like that. Now that I've been working for a couple years with iPhone rumors specifically, which are very, very prone to fabrications, I definitely have a much more reserved view, and I don't really take things as they are until we get a confirmation from Apple. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below or on Twitter at TIP_Jake. Please don't forget the links to everything I talked about in this video in the description down below, so definitely check those out. And as always, for more news, views, and reviews, don't forget to hit up today'siPhone.com.